What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, saints and inks, and welcome to Lactic Acid on this December holiday. You know, 'tis the season. Christmas, we do it big here on the show. I got cracking in September. So it's about time for everybody to step up and get to where I am on this holiday season. Hope your Thanksgiving was lit. Hope you all went ham on your respective turkeys. And you who are vegan, who are listening to the show, hope your tofu was very smacking and great as well. But I am excited to bring to you today's guest. She is the closest thing to Mother Teresa in the track and field form. She has done great things on the track, off the track, continues to ball out, make a difference in the community, and she's pretty fast. She's faster than the majority of people listening to it. I can definitely tell you that she's faster than me. She is none other than the legend that is Miss Rebecca Mehra. Rebecca, what's going on, fam? How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. Gosh, I don't know that I'm worthy of the compliments that you gave, but I'm super stoked to be on.
It's all facts. Listen, as the official, unofficial reporter of Flavortown, USA, they say all thriller, no filler. You know that we keep it real 100. And so that's just what it is. So, yes, all of the things that I said were straight facts on me. So, I've had to kind of switch this question up since we have hopped from Thanksgiving. Well, y'all, technically, we were in just full transparency. Thanksgiving's 2 days from when we're recording this. But I still, everything I said, I still hope it was lit, all that, stuff. Um, but let's just say, and I've been asking questions like this. One day, Hallmark and Food Network said, the closest thing to Teresa and to Nelson Mandela and all the people who vouch for peace in the athletic form is Rebecca Mehra. That's
Oh
just is what
no.
it is. That's the closest thing we got, and she's actually beating people. So she's doing it with all love and peace and brotherhood. So we need to honor her awesomeness in this holiday season. The holiday swag is going on. Countdown to Christmas is just balling on every network, whether it's Lifetime, Hallmark, or whatever it is you watch your Christmas stuff. Freeform has the 25 days of Christmas. The holiday baking championships are on and popping. And so they want to bring you a part of this holiday season so that
Ew.
people know that you are the real deal and that you are highly thought of. So what they want to do is Food Network said, we got too many holiday baking championships and cooking championships and all that stuff. So we don't want to make her compete more than we have to. What we want to do is add a signature burger, pizza, and dessert. So you see either pizza or burger and a holiday dessert, whether it's a cookie, whether it's a cake, whether it's ice cream. We want her to custom make either the pizza or the burger and customize the ice cream or whatever dessert that you choose. Hallmark was like, yo, 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 hold up, hold up, hold up. We the kings of Christmas. We are the target of the Christmas season. And so what they wanted to do is we want to make a Christmas movie, a countdown to Christmas movie, starring whoever she wants. And it could be about anything that she wants. And we're going to run that thing until next Christmas because they play Christmas movies all year round. So, what they need from you, Food Network needs the name, which food you want, and
Hmm.
listen, it's the holiday season, season's for giving. So if
Yep.
you like, pizza and a burger, and I want something else, feel free. They got you. So you have to customize whatever it is that you want, the pizza burger or whatever, and
Okay.
then the dessert, and then you have to fulfill Hallmark's request by giving us who you want to play your character in the movie. It could be anybody from the network, not outside the network, and just a brief thing of what you would want it to be about.
Oh man, these are some unique questions. Okay. I pizza and burger. I feel like I could do both. pizza. My favorite pizza in the world is from this little restaurant in Northern California called Vesta. And it's not super holiday, but it's like pistachio pesto with like sopressata ham and chili honey on it. So maybe add some like cranberries. I don't know, like make it ham instead of sopressata, make it feel more like holiday vibey. Burger. I mean, cranberry sauce is like my absolute favorite thing, which I know is really up in the air. Maybe not a lot of people feel that way, but I gotta have cranberry sauce on my burger. I love Gruyere cheese, gotta be medium rare. I don't know what else. I love a side of Brussels sprouts, some sweet potato fries, yams. I don't know, make it a little bit more holiday oriented. But I don't know. I love a good pumpkin pie for dessert. But actually, what I'm making on Thanksgiving with a friend is a cardamom pear caramelized cake with sage whipped cream, and it is the best thing in the world. Honestly, we should probably link the recipe in here.
What in the
I
name of holiday baking championships are you
yeah.
concocting in that kitchen? Lord, have mercy.
I mean, I'm not that good of a baker, but this is like my once a year. I pretend I know how to bake, and I make this cake, and it's always a winner. So, that would have to be in there. But I don't know. This is gonna sound super corny. Talk about like my work in local government, local politics, but some sort of heartwarming story about getting out people to vote. I think would
Okay.
be really great. I don't know. I think, civil
Now,
discourse is important.
who would you want to
Maybe
play your
that's lame.
character?
Oh, that part I don't know.
It could be
Um,
anybody.
Anybody? Oh, I mean, I love. Can I have a dude play me? I
Sure.
love
Yeah.
Hassan Minaj, but he's a comedian. But I feel like he acts, so I feel like that could be
Comedians
interesting.
comedians
Yeah.
have to do voiceovers, and
Yep.
you know the power of technology, they can make him look like a
Yeah.
girl
Right.
within 30 seconds. So yeah,
Sure.
I need to go back to this food thing real quick. And you know, I definitely see, I don't want to say the cultural differences, but the demographic differences, because here in Florida,
hmm
Brussels sprouts is like the algae or whatever that's in the lakes and stuff like that. No, 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 no. The devil is a liar. We don't do that. At least I don't do that. Uh,
Fair.
Even though I did have some bacon wrapped glazed Brussels sprouts about a year ago that make you
Add
want to sit.
bacon and they're really good,
Yes,
right?
and
Yeah.
yeah, and it was crispy and everything. So let me just, what is that place called? It's gonna make me mad. I forgot, but whoever you are, thank you. Um, you cannot come on here and say I pretend to be a baker and then bring out something that they would serve the president. Like, come on now. Like,
I honestly, I know how to bake like superhero muffins. I know how to make like pre-mixed brownies and pumpkin bread and this cake.
I
That
man,
yeah.
listen. Let me tell you something. There are certain things that you said that I just can't get with. That's just me. My burger has to be cooked like my chicken. Honestly, oh, people, I got the two-piece in the biscuit shirt. I told you guys about it when Laura Thweet was on the show. But yes, it's a thing. So I just had to rep it today. But
Love it.
I don't do pumpkin. I think it should be demolished. I
What about apple
my
pie? That's my other favorite.
listen now. Come on now. You know, I went and bought some apples today. I was eating an apple. You saw me eating it before the
That's
show.
true.
I can we can make, listen now, in my household, we have made some apple crumble and an apple pie. Now, here's the thing,
Mm,
just because I don't like it, to each its own. May the good Lord bless and keep you on this holiday season, and may you enjoy the finer things in life that you consider finer things. But man, I would eat that pizza. I would eat that pizza. Now, what style? Is it New York, deep dish, or tavern style? Or what's the Northern California? Is it like Neapolitan or,
yeah, something like that. Like European kind of
oh man,
Neapolitan. But I don't know. I
Neapolitan,
love a New York
Neapolitan.
pizza too. My mom's from New York, so I feel like we had to always find the best New York pizza where I grew up in Los Angeles. And so I do love a good New York pizza too, to be fair. I'm not a deep dish person though.
I
Get
thank
with it.
you. Thank you. You see, this is why we had to have you on. I hate deep dish. I'm sorry, people. But my mom wanted some the other night, and I was like, "Let me go on ahead and eat it." I was like, "It's just
In
too much
Florida?
bread." Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
BJ's Brew House. We have BJ's and Uno's, and I never got it from Uno's, and I probably should have if I was going to try it. But I was like, "What? How do you guys do this? Like, this is just the bread to sauce ratio is like
It's just off. Just
it's
wrong.
it's off. If you're running a marathon, you need all the bread you can get. So I understand that. But people who just do that as a lifestyle, like, listen, we need to we need to enhance those taste buds to
Hmm.
something pleasing because New York is straight, it's simple, it's to the point.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Agree.
So, major shout out. What about the delis in Los Angeles? Do they
Are they
compare
good?
to Oh,
Do
well,
they
I
compare
think
to New
I
York? I
well, let
mean,
me just say this, the
no.
way you said that just gave me the answer before the question was even asked. So, I
I
mean,
mean,
I
they're
get
they're okay. There was one really good Jewish deli that we used to go to for matzo ball soup and corned beef sandwiches, and that
mhm,
place was legit. But like I can't say that there are many, honestly. It's a lot of like, I don't know, tapas places and like salad bowl places, tacos, like that's very LA vibe.
mm,
Um, yeah, not
tragic.
so many delis. Yeah.
Lord have mercy. Well, okay, at least y'all have the stuff. So that is something. So I am with everything that you said for your promotion. That Hallmark movie, they would probably name it because they always have weird names. So like Candy Cane Lane Falls and an undisclosed location. And you're trying to get the Candy Cane laners to vote. And there's like the high school person is you convince them to run for mayor and you get everybody to
Yeah.
vote and
Yep.
democracy is safe.
Candy canes for votes, or I don't know,
Yeah.
something goofy.
Yeah, it'd be like a marshmallow world Christmas or candy, yeah, something crappy like that. So I listen, your they've done a couple of local government related movies, oddly enough.
They
Um,
have? I haven't seen them. I haven't seen a Hallmark movie in such a long time.
so
But then
let me
again,
go
you
ahead.
know,
Oh no, I I feel that. Let me just preface my comments by saying I am not a habitual Hallmark movie watcher. It's just every blue moon, if there's nothing on the television and you need something to just distract you, it's on. And I was like, ooh, they doing a movie about a mayor? Like, oh, staff? And it's just the most fluffed up, you know, buttons and bows. I was like, listen, I wish it worked out like this because
I
the world
know.
would definitely be a
That's
better
what the
place.
Christmas season does. It kind of like makes you feel warm and good inside and maybe forget about what's going
Yeah,
on in the world. But maybe we can just insert some like subliminal messaging about voting and,
yeah,
caring about what's going on in our country and our environment. I don't know.
yeah. Especially
Super dirty.
because the thing is with Hallmark, I'm always curious, like, what happens in January 2nd? Like, what
Mm.
happens and stuff like that.
It's
So
winter, it's cold, it's gray, depending on where you are. If you're in Los Angeles, it's none of those things. But
I feel that.
it's
But
winter.
you're no, it's I mean, it was 60 something degrees and Florida lost their collective minds. So I mean
Sounds right.
I, no, I mean it's 70 degrees is boots with the fur season. So it's different strokes for different folks.
Hmm.
So
For sure.
um but you, my friend, are a baller. And so we will
Thank you.
trace back to running in a minute, but I thought it was really cool. What would you describe yourself as when it comes to your role um, in local government? Obviously, you wear many hats because I believe you work. You're like the right hand woman for the mayor. If I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken, you done campaigns.
Hmm.
You did campaigns in 2020, oddly
Yeah.
enough. Um, and you've done like so many things. Like you're like the jack of all trades. So what would be? Because I was trying to think like you are the Swiss Army knife, like the handy woman. So what would you what would be your official title?
So many compliments. Well, I actually used to say I kind of felt like a jack of all trades assistant to the mayor. And also as a campaign manager, you just have to take care of so many different things. I mean, you could be sitting with your candidate, like making phone calls to raise money or making phone calls to get out the vote. You could be organizing an event, so you become an event planner. You have to help organize finances, so suddenly you're a financial person. You have to talk to people, be a spokesperson. I mean, it's so many different things. So I haven't since I moved away from Bend, I'm living in Seattle now. I haven't been working in local government the last year, and it's definitely something that I miss. And I felt like I left Bend in such a better place than maybe when I got there 3 years before. I mean, it was suddenly a council of 6 women, and the council's first ever person of color, first ever non-binary person on council. It was much more liberal than it was prior. And yeah, it was a really, really interesting time to be working in Bend. And you said 2020, it was a lot. It was a lot to work in a mayor's office in 2020 and then also oversee an election at the same time. You had to be so creative and do things so differently. Half of everything was on Zoom. So it was definitely an experience I'll forever have ingrained in my mind.
Oh, I think you need to flush that out like lactic acid in the legs. Like that is, it's like you get what you can get. There's so much that goes into it that I don't think people understand. First of all, forgive me because I got so mad when y'all kept calling me, and not y'all, but y'all here down here, you know who you are. Like the calls and the texts, but you see kind of the initiative that people are trying to do, um, to try to get people more involved, try to, inform people. That takes so much. Like that's just
Hmm.
not sitting down and it's like, okay, what's on my to-do list? All right, from 8:30 to 9, let's just get these texts out. There's so many nuances that people do not understand. But
Hmm.
I think the cool thing that you said that may go unnoticed is that you left a place better than you found it. Do you ever just kind of sit back and you kind of take a deep breath? You look at the challenges you faced, you look at the challenges that you overcame, and you look at the blueprint that you personally left for somebody to come in and make it easier for them to get the job done. Not to be, you give yourself a crown or anything of that nature,
Definitely
but
not.
just to, I don't know, what confidence does that give you? Not just, Bend is not Seattle as far as population,
Hmm.
um, but at the same time, I worked um, as a beat reporter for a short period of time covering a town of 28,000 people.
Hmm.
And that's 28,000 people that you're
Yeah.
responsible for and stuff.
Yeah.
And so you were responsible for all these people and you made life, um, from what you're telling me, so much easier. Do you ever think, like, I cannot believe that I was able to do that? And what confidence did you take from that, now? Even to
Yeah.
track.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I can't take full credit in any way for that.
Oh,
I was part of teams and, the candidates were ultimately the ones that were elected and have made change. And I just got to, help them get there. But it was awesome. I mean, honestly, it felt so good for me, especially in 2020, to feel like I was doing something that mattered. And that absolutely translated to my running because I just felt so much more fulfilled on a day-to-day basis. And I've said this so many times, but I've never been the type of athlete, the type of runner that can be singularly focused on training. I feel like I need to be doing something else in the world that makes me feel like I'm giving back or I'm feeling fulfilled. And yeah, that work in Bend was awesome. And I felt that way every single day. So I guess, yeah, in a way it did give me confidence, especially when I was standing on the starting line and starting lines in 2021 after going through all hell of 2020,
oh
of
boy.
not only just the day to day was so difficult, we're all in quarantine, but also helping to support someone running a city government, also helping to support someone who is running for office, and knowing that wow, we were able to get a lot done. And, yeah, it did bring me a lot of confidence. And I felt very satisfied, I guess, with what I had done.
The street cred that you have is unbelievable. Like nobody could ever talk crap to you. Like, what have you done with your life? It's like, oh, I changed the city. What have you done? It's like, oh, never mind. I did nothing. Um, But
Did my
how?
best.
Yeah, you did your best. You know, that's all you can do. And hey, you caught a W. So that's all
True.
that matters. How's life in Seattle so far? I believe you've been there a year and a few
Yep.
pennies.
Yep, a year, little over a year. It's been good. I feel like the weather the last couple weeks was like oddly sunny. I'm like, oh, is it going to stay this way? Are we not going to get the rain? And today, completely downpoured. Um, so, but yeah, I mean, in terms of like just life balance, Seattle's so awesome. I have so many friends from different walks of life. Love going to practice every day. I get to practice around the University of Washington team, which is a lot of fun. I love the Powells, the UW coaches. And yeah, it's been fun. I've been working for a law firm, or I worked for a law firm for the last year. And we did a lot of work in it specifies in indigenous rights. And so we did a lot of police and prison reform cases that I got to, I'm not a lawyer, but I got to be a part of and touch on a little bit. And I learned a lot, and I got to learn a lot about my new city. I haven't quite dabbled in local politics and elections yet, but we'll see. It might be coming.
Yeah,
But
there's
yeah,
still
I
time.
I really loved it. Yeah, and I'm here with my two cats who are great and made the move, no problem.
Okay.
And my fiance too, who works in tech, and so it's been a good balance. I'm really enjoying it.
All right, that's awesome. I think it's crazy that the sun came out from everything
I
I've
know.
heard.
For two weeks, it was the longest stretch they've ever had in November of sun, and it was
Yeah.
14 days.
Oh boy. Wow. I
Yeah.
You see when stuff like that happens, it's like, Lord, should I smile or are you about to just go full,
For
Armageddon?
real though, for real. That's what I don't know. But I will say I've learned, or I learned last year, that if you just take breaks away from the gray, like it's dark and it's gray for several months out of the year. And in those months out of the year, which was mostly like November to March, you just leave as much as you can. Like I'm gonna go to LA for a couple of weeks to visit my family, and visit Jordan's family, and we'll, I don't know, take a couple of other trips here and there, and then it feels a lot better. You're not
I,
stuck in the gray.
oh, for sure. Like I One of my go-to shows back in the day was I used to watch Frasier
Hmm.
with Kelsey Grammer and stuff. And every time they did that show, I don't think it was recorded in Seattle, but it was always raining. So I was just like,
Yeah.
okay, well, this is good nap weather. But it is
Yeah.
good to travel to mix things up because you learn about different cultures and then you go back to obviously, um, I don't know where you started in some respects. You've gotten a chance to travel, you've gotten a chance to experience different things. And I think that's actually the really cool thing about not just working in office. Obviously, you are, literally, I said the jack of all trades, but I mean, technically, so you're like a professional runner. You can low key be Johnny Cochran, like mayor. Uh, I don't know any famous mayor. Well, I should know famous mayor. I mean, is a presidential run? When can we? When does that come? I'm
No,
just,
I prefer to be the supporter of a great person running for office rather than the person running for office, because I've seen how tough it is to have like your life torn apart,
oh yeah.
and constantly have people watching you. So
No,
again,
listen.
love to
This
be
is.
the brain behind the operation rather than the face.
I feel that. I feel that. I feel that. Listen, as long as there's free food, then I'm always involved. But so
Same.
I'm definitely with that. But I think I have a passion for travel. My problem is I don't have any money. But the places that I have traveled, it's just been such a remarkable experience learning about the towns, learning about the
Mhm.
town structure, looking at the people, listening to not looking at the people, but just
Yeah.
seeing how they just day to day, like everything is different in Eugene than it is in Orlando, than it is Orlando.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, Everything is different in Mount Dora than it is Orlando. But
Yeah.
for you, you travel so much, and it seems to me the thing that I take away from your journey that I've seen is you really enjoy investing in people. And this is just a general, um, not a political, but just a general statement. You seem to really invest, like you have a heart for people. Where did that heart come from? And how do you, I don't want to say sustain it, but life's like I used to. I had a teacher. He said, and this may be bad for the podcast, but he said, "Life sucks, and then you die."
I mean,
But
depends on how you
like,
look at it.
yeah, and so I was like, "Ooh, that's kind of grim," but life can be hard, as we've seen. Um, and obviously, this is far beyond the grocery store and all the things you've done. This is just a general observation. But how do you maintain it, when it is kind of gray in the world?
Yeah, it's a good question. I feel like I look back on all of the best experiences that I've had in my life and, the wins and the losses. And, a lot of that kind of melts away, like the feelings you have of those major life events happening. But the thing that sticks are those people that were there and the relationships with you that you have with those people. And so I think I've realized over time the most important thing is like those relationships and the ability to call someone and to be a part of their life and to ask them for something or have them be able to ask you for something. And that's really yeah, the relationships are what you remember the most, or at least for me that's been the case. And so it's been yeah, and absolutely the same for running. Like I just went to a meet in Memphis. The race didn't go particularly well, but I had so much fun like spending time with a couple of people that I've known in the running world for so many years. And years later, when I'll be done running, inevitably everyone is at some point, it'll be like those memories of like my whole day before the race with this friend I've been running with and I've had for a decade, not like the race itself. So I don't know if that answers the question, but
No, it does.
people
Yeah.
are absolutely what make experiences. So
Listen, 20 years from now, you can tell your family about the time that, uh, because was it the Murphy Classic? Was that the race in Memphis? I think that's what it's
oh,
called.
that's the track meet in Memphis. The one I just did
Oh,
is the Sugar Run 5K. It's a road 5K. So a little outside
oh,
my comfort zone, but yeah.
okay. I was gonna say you could tell them about the humidity that you endured. That's
I
always a
know.
good.
No, it was not humid this time. It was dry and it was like 25 degrees. So very different experience, but I have raced at Murphy Classic and it is like soup outside. It's
Oh
like
my
it's like your
gosh.
weather, Florida.
It's so
Um,
sad. You just get used to not breathing. So, like, when I go to the West Coast, it's just like my lungs are just asking each other, "What do we do?" Like, this is
yeah.
air.
You know what's funny though is I've struggled with asthma since I was much younger and I feel great racing in heat and humidity. Like lung wise, like no problems. I will take that any day over cold and dry. Like it's amazing how much of a
Back
difference it makes actually.
back in the day, I'm 28, so back in the day, old
Oh,
school.
same age.
Oh, hey, listen, I did have asthma.
Hmm.
I think by the grace of the Lord, I was healed, and I can testify that you are exactly right because when it was
Hmm.
50, 40 degrees and you're running, it's like somebody sticking pins in your lungs.
Hmm. Yeah,
Like it
totally.
it burns. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I need my albuterol and everything
Yeah.
like that. But
Yeah.
no. Mm. I see, I don't know about the thing is humidity is like Brussels sprouts, it's like an acquired taste because when you wake up and you take the trash out or you bring your trash lid up, you have to change clothes because it's like at 8 o'clock in the morning, it's
Hmm.
82 degrees with the feel like temperature of 90. Um, so it is what it is. We don't have to
Yeah.
talk about that. But I thought that I didn't know that there was a race in Memphis. That's pretty cool though. Listen, it's the fun that matters.
Hmm.
And before we switch topics to the off track stuff, the one thing I notice about you is win, lose, or draw, you seem like you're having fun. Like there are obviously moments where you just happen to run races that bring pain. Um,
It just
at
happened
least
to. It's like part of the job.
it's part it's part of the job, and by pain I mean physical pain. Because I used to have to run like they used to make us run the mile in school.
Uh-huh.
I was
Yep.
like, how do people do this? And then the fact that people are doing it like 4 minutes, like under 4 minutes, I'm like, ooh, at 4 minutes, I'm trying to cross 400. Um, but you seem to have so much joy and just have fun, loving what you're doing. Where does that come from?
I think for a long time, when I first started running, I actually didn't enjoy it at all because I used to get so anxious. It was all about the competition and all about like, how was I going to be on this day? And I got really good when I was really young. I was 13 years old and I was winning races and, getting interviewed. And that just all like
Mm.
made me very anxious. Like I didn't enjoy it at all. And it actually took having the sport taken away from me a bunch of times to enjoy it and to like realize that I loved running. And then by the time I decided to run post collegiately and ultimately end up running professionally, I, got to this place where I'd been hurt and had been taken away from me so many times that I realized how much I enjoyed it. And I made the point already about the people, but like the people in the sport rock. Like there's not a lot of money. There's like, of course, there's notoriety of like making an Olympics or making world championships teams, but like ultimately, like people are buddies. It's fun. This is short lived. You only get to do it for a period of time, and it's just the feeling you get when you run as fast as you can is like, yes, it's painful, but it's also so exhilarating when you can do something that you've never been able to do before. And that's really great. And I think even when I had a tough year this year, if I'm being honest, like just all the things went wrong at all the wrong times. And I think the thing that I stuck to the most was the people. The people around me rock. Like I was so lucky that I had such a good support system, and I'm lucky after all these years in the sport, like I'm still enjoying running, even when it is crappy, or the racing, I guess, is crappy. So, yeah, I've been lucky in that sense. I guess I'm grateful that I even get to do this in the first place because I didn't know that professional running was a job until midway through college. And I didn't even think I'd be good enough to have it as a job. And now that I've had it as a job for like 6-7 years, it's a pretty fun job.
Oh, listen, I mean, injuries aside, you ball. Like that's no
Thanks.
no cap, you ball. So I definitely understand that. Would you say that the people bring you back, excuse me, consistently when you feel, like you're knocked down?
Yep, definitely. I love my coaches. I love the athletes I've trained with. I love the athletes that I get to room with when I go to meets, teammates, current teammates, former teammates. It's so much fun. And then also getting to be invested in other people's success, like people that I've trained with and I've known for a long time. When I watch them like run really well or succeed or like achieve a lifelong goal, or it's really awesome. And I feel
Yeah.
like I get a lot from that too. So it's yeah.
One question prior to us switching gears, and we will get to the off the track stuff in just a second. You mentioned something very interesting. So I work my, I guess you can call it a trade, but my I went to school for journalism. That's what I have my degree in. That's what I do for a living.
Yeah,
Sports journalism.
I can tell.
Um, okay, well, thank you. Hopefully that's I don't know how, but um,
So it's the swagger. You have the swagger of someone who knows what they're doing.
okay, well, I will take that to the bank, cash it in, and we will use that for some more chicken. So I appreciate that. But I never, maybe I don't remember, and I'm sitting here trying to think what rules we were taught. I do know that we always had to ask a parent if the kid was underage, like if you can speak to your child. But I never felt comfortable interviewing somebody that was not in high school. I just because it's a different world,
Hmm.
and I I I hate that. I'm sorry that that it happened. But I guess my question would be, what is it that you would change in the media landscape to a help you guys as professional athletes? But and I had this conversation with my boss. Shout out to Adair and Homer. She gave me my first shot with Florida runners.
Yeah.
But I believe she and I were talking about it. It's just some of these high school phenoms, man, the way they're covered, even some of these middle
Hmm.
school kids now, they
Yeah.
cover them better than they covered Usain Bolt when he ran.
Hmm.
And I'm not even kidding. And I
Yeah.
see it in other sports as well. We 5 stars and 10 stars and 10 toes to all everything. And then there's no chance for them to develop. There's no chance
Mhm.
for them to figure things out. They drop them like a bad habit when they deem them to be unsuccessful, but
Mhm.
really they're just
Totally.
learning and growing and stuff. As a professional athlete and someone who has dealt with the media for an extended period of time, what is it that you would change to make it better, not just for you professionals, but for the kids coming
Mhm.
up?
Yeah. Actually, I just coached high school this past
Okay.
fall season. So I have even a little bit more context in thinking about the minds of high school athletes and high school girls in particular. I mean, yeah, the obsession is very real about covering high school sports. I wish that it wasn't so all encompassing. And I think for this generation and for ours too, social media is like so impactful. Like these kids are all on all the time. I mean, so am I. And I just think you're constantly gathering news and you're constantly making comparisons of yourself to others, and it's also so easy if you're like a high school girl to get online and God knows the number of things that have been said about Caitlin Toohey on Let's Run boards. Like she doesn't need to be able to go on and read that. And so I just think that we need to have a greater level of awareness of like where 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old minds are at, and be more conscientious perhaps in the reporting, like give space also, and yeah, the just it's yeah, that one's a tough one. Exactly
It
what needs to change, but I think message boards are a big thing that are really negative,
I
for
am
kids and for anybody. Like I can go on and read something on there that's negative about me, and I just don't think that we need that. I also think I love, switching gears a little bit from high school athletes. I love a comeback story, and I love the ability. I read the Chicken Soup books when I was growing up. If
Oh,
did
me
you Are
too.
you familiar with those? Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
and
chicken
how
soup
good
for
they
the
made me
soul.
feel. Yeah, exactly. And so I always wanted to create like a one for injured runners or for runners coming back. And so that's actually a project that I'm working on with a friend. Um, where I think we're going to call it the comeback journals, which is going to be great. But I want to be able to celebrate like athletes who are, midway through their comeback. Maybe they haven't like achieved the big thing that would get them in the news, but just like really real stories of stuff that people are going through. And I think that's gotten better in the media over time. But it's so easy to celebrate people that are always on top. But there's so many interesting stories of folks that are they're in the middle or maybe have been gone for a while or on their comeback, and also interesting stories of people that are not just like the tippy top elite athletes. So, yeah, that's something that I'd love to see and why I'm working on it myself. But yeah, I think in general, the like obsessive comparison online is so tough. And I wish
I've
I could make it go away.
I've worked a couple places, because I I coach high school track and field. Oh boy, it's crazy because there's because I was talking with a parent and I covered high school football for our local paper as well, high school
Hmm.
athletics. That was my first gig prior to covering track and field. There was a need, they said, for me to come out there with the camera and post stuff on social media because
Hmm.
it helps their kids get recruited.
Oh, wow.
And you walk this fine line of, oh boy, I don't. And there are times I didn't write stuff. I didn't have the heart to. Like, I'm not
Hmm.
gonna, and because it's just like, this is a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid. Like,
Yeah.
he's still learning. Just, he doesn't, they don't know anything.
Basic stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they don't even
They,
know how to properly, address the media.
no, they don't know anything. And I would always try to give tips. I was like, listen, they're going to come at you when you get to college. And then from there, I got into the message board world. It
Oh.
is it's a never winning, it's a never ending battle because there's this feeling that, oh, these kids need to toughen up, and we can say whatever we want to, and we have the right. I'm like, no, the frick you don't. Like, you don't know what this kid is going through.
Mhm.
And I guarantee you, half the people who, whether they're on Let's Run or any other message board, they could not. They sit there. We call them sofa coaches, couch coaches.
Yeah.
because they can't do what you do. I promise you.
No.
If you like Rebecca, I promise
Yeah.
you, I put every piece of chicken I've ever eaten. If you were to post your daily schedule on a message board and you say for 2 weeks, I'll give you
Hmm.
$1,000 for 2 weeks. I guarantee you, people will drop out after day 4. They don't have the discipline, they don't have the
Yeah.
wherewithal, and it's
Hmm.
not meant for them to do. So if it's not meant for you to do, then you can't criticize these
Yeah.
kids. You
Well,
can't criticize.
and people also hide behind usernames, and feel like because they have this anonymity, they can say anything that they want. And yeah, I think that it can be. I know that some of these message boards are trying to create better protocols, but I think at the end of the day,
It
it's
doesn't work.
still very negative. And it's also like, I'm sorry, but primarily like, at least I think middle-aged older men that are on there, like making comments about women, which is tough. And to kind of go back to your original question, I think another thing that is changing and I hope continues to change is that sports media is like not nearly enough focused on women. And when it is focused on women, I think it's focused on women sometimes in the wrong ways. Um, and I mean, yeah, there's also just like a lack of diversity in general
Oh boy.
like in the media world. Like I was
Oh,
only
preach. Yeah.
ever interviewed by like older white men for so many years, and I just, now that is changing, and I'm really glad that is changing, but it's still not enough.
I was in this program called the Magic Boost program, and I got a chance.
Yeah.
It was the inaugural class, so I
Hmm.
was there with. I know you were on their show. My boys Josh and Aaron, two
Yep.
black runners.
They're great. Uh-huh.
T Williams, y'all. Real talk with T, please. Like,
Uh-huh.
listen to that. She's balling. My man
Yep.
Matthew Parker, of MJP4 TV, and we were in that mix zone, and it was like, dang, like
Hmm.
it was. And the questions in the press conferences in the mix zone. You're a minority just like I am. So you know what it's like to be in a situation where it's like,
Yep.
ooh, well, I don't see nobody that looks too much like me.
Hmm.
Or the
And the
case might be.
athletes notice that too, like
Mhm.
the track athletes are a very diverse set of athletes. And, I've heard different athletes say, like, I'm more comfortable to talk to someone who's my age, who looks like me, who comes from a background like me. And that matters. And so you like the types of questions that are asked are completely
Yep.
different too. And honestly, like probably more interesting for an audience to listen to or to read about. So
I asked the question to everybody. I don't care if you took an L. I asked it to Sha'Carri Richardson, asked it to Michael Norman, asked it to Noah
yeah.
Lyles.
Yeah.
And when I started this show a year ago, um, I would ask the question: if you had to pick a superhero to describe who you are on the track, who would you roll with? And I got answers that was just like, you had your Supermans, your Batmans. Then we get an anime, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Oh, Noah
like
Lyles probably. Yeah.
he gave me a quote, and I actually had the opportunity to sit down and talk anime with him. And at first, I thought it was straight hieroglyphics, and then I had to go back and just kind of look it up and everything. But it shows how interesting you guys are because I saw and listened to how the questions were phrased. And the one thing I could tell you, I know it because I've been trained in it. I
Hmm.
know a question that's aimed to get a specific response for a specific story
Hmm.
instead of an actual question to inquire information, general
Hmm.
information.
Yeah.
And I saw how they talk to the athletes, and I saw the questions. And I was like, this is not it. This is not it.
Hmm.
And to your point, it's getting, with women, it's just like I can't tell a woman how to feel. I'm a man. Like I
Hmm.
need to learn. Like I don't know. There's so many things I don't know, and so I think in this profession, you guys really get shorthanded because you don't tell your own stories. You can't tell your own stories because it's like we have to try to tell this story in a way people will understand. It's like, okay, well, let them tell their own stories. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what
Yeah.
it's like to run a 1500. So why am I telling you what it was like to run a 1500? Why don't I ask the person who ran it and then she
Hmm.
could tell me? You probably don't know what it's like to throw a shot put, or in my case,
Yeah.
have a shot put get land on your foot. Why
Oh,
would you
nope.
try to? Yeah. So, and so I think there's so many, and this could be another show at another time. There's so many discrepancies that the message boards are bad, but I think maybe the ego too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not everybody. It's not everybody. There's so many people
No.
doing great things. The
Mm-hmm.
people I just
Agreed.
named, Sidious Mag, we're trying to be on the come up here with Lactic
Mm-hmm.
Acid, and by we I do mean me. Um, but I don't know. I do feel the burden of what you're talking about, and sometimes it's like, why did you ask that question?
Yeah.
You know, how
Well,
did it?
thanks for being a part of the change. That's what's
Yeah,
the most important, to see it
athletes.
and to
Yeah,
make change.
athletes, as the living God is my witness, I will do my very best. I will never be like, tough race out there. How do you feel? I will not ask you that question. So,
Tough race.
yeah, tough
That didn't
race.
go how you wanted, huh?
It's tragic. You
No,
suck.
it didn't.
Yeah, you sucked out there. How you feeling? How
Yeah.
you doing? um,
My cat has
but,
been sitting behind the
but
computer
can you
staring at me.
can we have an introduction to the cat?
Oh yes, this is Callie. She is the best. She wants dinner right now, so she's
Okay.
being a pain. But she is the most like cat dog cat you'll ever meet. She comes and greets you at the door. She really wants food.
Oh, well,
She is the best.
Callie, we almost done. I promise. We get into the other section now. What are three things that people don't know about the legend that is you?
Three things people don't know. A lot of things people don't know.
Three things
I
that you want us to know.
yeah. Huh. I'm pretty I think I'm my own worst critic, which maybe a lot of athletes would say, but I might be really good at, finding the positives and posting about it online. But I'm totally human, and the negative feelings totally get me first. It just takes me a minute sometimes to process and then be able to like find find the jewels. I feel like it can come off like, I'm always positive all the time, but I definitely have my moments. Um, what else? Uh, I don't know. I guess I care a lot about the people around me more than anything else. I will like drop anything for someone I care about to make sure they're taken care of and have what they need, or if they need something from me. Um, what else? I I speak and read and write Hindi. That's more of a fun fact rather than something
Oh,
people can learn about me. But I also love, I don't know, I love everything about like my kind of Indian heritage and culture, and I love cooking Indian food. I host a Diwali every year and like invite whoever like in whatever place I'm living, and cook a ton of Indian food this year. You're a foodie, so I made chicken curry, I made lamb curry, I made
ooh, ooh.
dal, I made naan and rice. I made gobi mutter, which is cauliflower with peas and like a yogurt sauce. I really went all in. So
When can I get a plate? Like
come to
when
Seattle. Or you know
you
what?
have
My grandparents live in Boynton Beach. So when I'm down there, I'll cook and you could drive over.
I listen. I'm gonna walk. I will run. I'll stand on the highway and stop someone. And if anybody knows that song, sorry, John Legend, I had to copy your lyrics. I, yeah. And here's the thing: I have not tried Indian food, but I am kind of supposed to try it this winter. And so, what would
Ooh.
you? Yes, because I'm a foodie. Because here's the thing: I went through my full face buffets. I'm sorry. And
Mm-hmm.
listen, that is fried chicken one, pho two, even though I
Mm-hmm.
had a bad batch the other night or the other day.
Ooh.
Yes, thoughts and prayers. But I'm really excited to transition to this culture. So, what is it that you would suggest, like on a go-to plate, if I were to order something?
Yeah. So my favorite is sag paneer, which is basically spinach with like cheese cubes in it, but like a spinach curry. Which if you don't like vegetables, the place you
I
need to
like.
go visit, you got to go visit India, and then like northern India in particular, and then you will like vegetables if you prepare them the way you have them there. So that's my favorite. But a lot of people love like chicken tikka masala, or butter chicken, which is like pretty classic. Like, chicken curry. Ask for it mild, depending on how much you like spice. But with rice and naan, you gotta have naan, or particularly garlic naan. Just don't breathe on people
Oh no no no
afterwards.
no! You
But
eat that by yourself. Yes,
yeah,
you put a mask on. Yes.
nah, yeah. But it's yeah, I'd say go for those things.
So Lebanon, I like vegetables. I do not like unseasoned vegetables.
Oh yeah, no one likes that. Just like if I like when I was younger, I had Brussels sprouts a lot. Talk about Brussels sprouts that were just like cut and I felt like they were boiled. I don't know. Or like maybe they were put in the oven with nothing on them. And I hated Brussels sprouts for the longest time until I was in college and I went out to dinner at one point and I had this like amazing flaky fried Brussels sprouts with like
Oh,
bacon and like a maple glaze. And I was like, these are the same vegetables. So it
oh my
totally it totally depends on
gosh,
how you make them. Yep.
that is just amazing. Okay, listen, I'm. You ain't said nothing but a word. I'm down with it. So you get down when it comes. So you chef too. So pretty much you're
I
like a
try.
chef. Yes. So like I said, the walking Mother Teresa. I don't know if Mother Teresa knew how to cook like that, but if she did,
A little
then
different.
it's a little
half
different.
half Indian.
Yeah, but
Half Indian
listen.
style.
Oh man. So we've talked about Jewish delis and amazing Indian food. So tell me about curry. I'm interested in curry. How hot is it?
Hmm.
Because I'm scared.
Uh, don't be scared. You can make it as mild or as spicy as you want. When I actually make my own chicken curry, I don't make it really spicy, and then you can kind of add spice as you go, which is basically just adding like paprika or like red chili powder. Sometimes they are cooked with actual chilies. I just don't do that. But yeah, just be sure to say I want it mild, and then
Okay.
you won't get spicy food at all.
I, I
So
I had no idea how to order. Listen, that just solidified my decision. I'm gonna send
yeah.
you an email.
Yeah,
Um,
please
once I
do.
once
I'll
I
I'll give
try it.
you all the recs for like things that you should go ahead and try. Because curry is really great, but you can also get chicken tikka, which is like a spice rubbed baked chicken. And that also can be if you're like afraid of curry. That's a good way also to try some Indian spices and flair without maybe the full force of curry.
No, I want to try it. I watch diners, drive-ins, and dives, and just the different
Oh
things that
yeah.
they do.
Triple
And
G.
triple G is sick
Triple
too,
D.
but
Yeah.
triple D is lit too.
Triple D, not triple G.
G
Thinking of guy.
DG, Flavor Town, it's all in the same location.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it doesn't matter. Oh man, I'm actually really excited now. What is the best meal you've ever cooked?
Best meal I've ever cooked. I mean, that Indian food I just told you about was up
I
there. That took
yeah,
me
I
like
think
2 days to cook everything.
two
Um,
days. Oh,
yeah, because I had to make several dishes the day before, and then the next morning I made most of them. So I'd say that was pretty good. But that plus if I could make my pear cardamom cake on the same day,
ooh, ooh,
that would
ooh.
be the greatest day of eating. At least the greatest day of eating that I have made because I love going out to restaurants and eating other food. But
Oh
if
my
I cook,
god,
that's what it is. Yeah.
that that pear cardinal cake. Let me tell you something. I was watching Holiday Baking Championships yesterday. That sounds better than some of the stuff that they put. That just the mention of it gets the taste buds rolling like a river,
Hmm.
man. That is incredible. So I need to stop on the food subject because I am. You
It's
gotta
okay.
get
I'm
it.
with it. I'm a foodie through and through.
Emotion. What's your go-to place of all the places? Now I will ask this, and then I'm gonna get off food because I want to wrap this up. Of all the places that you've lived, the best food scene, the best dish, or actually, I don't want to say best dish because that's very vague and that's very difficult. A
It's
general
not.
top. Oh, ooh, okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I've lived in a lot of really like great places for food. Like I grew up in Los Angeles. I lived in the Bay Area for college. I lived in Portland. I lived in Bend, and now I live in Seattle. And I love so many different types of food. But there was this one restaurant in Bend. It was like my go-to takeout, and I honestly think that this place got me through through 2020 of COVID. It was a northern Thai restaurant called Wild Rose, and they made this thing called a curry basil noodles. And they're so good. I mean, it's like kind of a semi-traditional patsy ew, but like with this amazing curry spice and chicken and oh, it's so good. I wish I could like DoorDash it from Bend and have it sent up here.
But maybe wildflower, is that what they're called?
Wild Rose. Wild Rose.
Wild rose, it's a flower. So
Yeah.
um
Close enough.
close enough. Wildflower is actually a band, but um the Rose family. If y'all could sponsor Rebecca, don't even need to be money. Just send her the curry basil noodle. A
Yeah.
year supply. Definitely. Oh
That
my
would be
gosh.
amazing. Yeah.
I haven't why don't you like name that would be legit. If you name the series of comeback stories Rose Through the Concrete, and then you had the Wild Rose like sponsor it.
That would be legit. That's a
I have
good
no idea.
idea. See, this is why I
Yeah,
gotta talk to a media brain.
I have like a few ideas. I tried to get the show sponsored by Hidden Valley, but they thought we were a charity case and they said no. So, but don't worry.
You gotta put some Hidden Valley Ranch like next to your Lactic Acid logo, and
I have
maybe they'll
so
get into it.
we have a wing show. It's called A Bucket of Fried Chicken and Track Talk, where myself and guests, you're more than welcome to come on the show.
I want to do that. That reminds me
Yes,
of the fried chicken and hot sauce show. It's like on YouTube, I
hot
think that
ones,
hot
hot
ones.
ones.
Oh, I want to do hot ones.
It's it's
That's my
it's
ideal type of interview.
it's similar to that, and we do not talk. I may ask one or two topics, but everything else we talk anything else, and we
Yeah.
sit there and we eat wings and ranch. Like Ariana Ince came on the show, and
Yeah.
we talked NBC's The Good Place. We
Mm-hmm.
broke that
Oh, such a
down.
good show. Yep.
Yeah, that was my favorite. Low key, shed some emotions one at the finale.
Yeah.
Um, Shout out to my dog Cheaty. But and like Laura Thweet's coming on the show, and we're gonna talk '90s Nickelodeon shows over wings and stuff like
Oh,
that. So,
yes. That would be my
uh,
vibe too. I watched all that stuff in the 90s. Well, you're same age as me, so you probably did too.
listen, yeah, Rugrats. I'm a Rugrats brother myself.
Yep.
So listen, we gotta have you on the show. Like I said, we will set that up in the new year, because I know people want to come on, but at the same time, I told my cardiologist I would limit it to two per month. Gotta gotta take care of the heart. It's like, listen, how many wings
You
you
can make
eat?
some like tofu chicken that you get to eat when the guest gets to eat the real chicken.
Why did you ruin the moment?
Food FOMO.
Yeah, that was so bad. I mean, if I had a vegan person on the show, I will eat vegan wings because I found it. I don't know. Everything is on my face, so if it is a catastrophe, then you will see it. Um, but I do bake the wings. I don't always get a stop. So, like I said, we're gonna set
Fair.
that up, and we are going to have a '90s Nickelodeon extravaganza. Um, that we'll do that in the future. I wanted to ask this question before we get to the last topic. I heard that you electrocuted yourself,
Yeah.
and then when it ran something crazy. And the reason I say you say I don't deserve the compliments. What normal person, what non-superhuman hero figure electrocutes themselves and then goes and runs and is halfway decent? Like you ran
A
faster than
stupid person. Me, because I didn't communicate. I didn't realize what I had done to myself, but I
I,
did not feel normal, to be fair, for a few weeks afterwards.
but you still balled. Like, you
Yeah.
weren't just
Well,
sitting there.
okay. So I remember I was trying to turn on or turn off. I don't remember. Our oven was broken. And so you had to like reach all the way under the oven in order to like reach the outlet. And frankly, I don't know if at the time I touched the outlet or I like stuck my hand inside the socket. I really don't know what
You
happened.
touched
I
the
just remember
socket.
like, yeah,
Yes.
probably. I just remember that I suddenly like my hand was frozen, like super gross, gangly hand frozen. And then like for like 5 seconds, and then I finally was able to pull it away. And I felt like, I don't know, like you had gripped something as hard as you could, like for like
Hmm.
several minutes. And that feeling of like my hand was just so sore and felt kind of frozen in the way that I had it. Anyway, so I started Googling. I'm like laying on the floor at the kitchen, like, okay, I think I'm okay. Googling, I'm like, okay, I don't think I need to go to the hospital. Like, I don't think my heart stopped. I'm okay. So I tell my roommate who's there, like, hey, this just happened. And she's like, oh, that's weird. And then I start going to practice. And the next few days I go to a workout. And my coach, who at the time was Lauren Fleshman, was like, what's wrong with you? You look terrible. Like I couldn't run a 200 at my like mile race pace to save my life. Like I was sprinting as
Oof.
fast as I could. And she's like, something just looks wrong with you. Like, I don't know what it is. Turns out I had fried my entire nervous system, but still
Hmm.
didn't think to say anything about the fact that I'd electrocuted myself because I remember thinking it was like my hand, even though I kind of felt off my whole body. It was like, no, it's my hand. It's fine. I don't need my hand to run fast. And then the day I went to Portland Track Fest and the day I was supposed to race, my teammate said something to me like, hey, Rebecca, like, remember when you electrocuted yourself? Haha. And my coaches just like perked their ears, like, what? You did what? I'm like, oh yeah, that happened last week. They're like, Rebecca, that's why you feel like such crap. You like totally fried your system. Like
Oh
this is bad.
boy.
I'm like, oh, okay. Like just didn't occur to me. And by the way, I told this story when I was at training camp in Flagstaff last year, and Molly Seidel said that she had also electrocuted herself very badly, so badly that she had like spider kind of veins all over her hands several years ago. I think when she was in college and went to the hospital. So I guess I was lucky that that was not what happened to me. But yeah, it's so I'm
I
not
was
the only
gonna.
one.
I was gonna. I wake up and find a new way to hurt myself. So I was just curious as to what was the most creative way that you found, but I think you answered that. Um,
Yeah, I also am the same. Like I have a constant story about a stupid thing that I did or something that hurts. Like it became a joke when I was in college. Um, but
I was
electrocution special.
electrocution. It doesn't beat that. I was gonna say my snowboarding story. When I passed that at the top of the mountain.
Oh no. No.
Oh no, senior ski trip. I've told the story in the show before. Drove up the mountain in Colorado, and the mountain goes up. I didn't go fast enough. I briefly lost focus, consciousness, fall down, look up, snowmobiles just rolling, breaking. Um, but I don't know. It's just every day, I'll look and I'll see blood. Like, what did I do? Like what? Like what happened? Like, where is this blood coming from? Uh,
Yeah.
like I walked
I
in. It's
yeah.
it's so.
Oh no. I have a similar thing but with bikes. Like me and bikes are like not
Oh,
we're not friends. We can't hang out.
they're dangerous. They are
Yeah, so
dangerous.
when I was at Stanford, we used to have these areas on campus called circles of death, literally, because like bikes would fly around them and people would get in like horrible crashes all the time.
Oh,
Like I thought my college coach was gonna ban me from using a bike because I got hurt like 3 different times in school because I was on a bike. I got clotheslined once. Someone opened a car door and I hit the car door and like flew over
oh,
it. I had to go to the hospital for that one, which I tried to hide, which also did not turn out to be good. You got to tell your coach when you end up in the hospital in a bike accident. And then years later, I went back to help coach at a Stanford track camp, and I was at the edge of campus. I was walking. I was like 2 minutes away. It was July 4th too, from meeting friends, and I got hit from behind. I was walking by a cyclist who was clearly on their phone or something. Fell, broke my wrist, and like the absolute edge of campus, getting hit by a bike. I'm like, that would happen. This is just my luck with bikes. So
listen,
bikes and electrocution, no go for me.
bikes. Lord have mercy. Oof, I'm afraid for you. Like I'm just gonna put like Lord. We used to sing the song in church. Jesus, build a fence around me every day. That's the prayer I'm gonna start praying for you. Don't let that girl get hurt. Keep every bike away from her. Close
I
every
know, for
door.
real.
Oh man, listen, I don't do bikes. The pedals, those sharp pedals, the stationary bike mess me up because it's too sharp and my feet just slip and then all of a sudden it's like
Hmm.
no, 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 no. There
Yeah.
needs to be a class on bikes. Um, and then it's with bikes, it's the people who are not paying attention to
Oh
your car
yeah. Yeah.
that cause you the most damage. Don't text and drive. Let those bicyclists be great. Cyclists be great. That's all we have to say. Want to wrap this up before we get to the rapid fire. What gives you hope? What is it that gives you hope? And then what gives you hope for this season?
I guess I'll start with the second question. It's a little bit easier.
Okay.
I am healthy. I feel like myself again. I had a bad bout of COVID over the summer. And then I got the swine flu. It was just not a good summer.
What?
And I hear Jordan laughing from upstairs. Yeah, it was bad. And so I'm grateful that I feel like myself right now. I'm training. I'm like stringing together weeks in a way that I literally could not do the entire rest of 2022. So I'm just excited to like, I don't know, be able to go out on a track and compete again this year. So it gives me a lot of hope that like I'm going to be able to PR and I'm going to have good races and it'll be a more positive experience than 2022 was. Granted, there were silver linings. It just was, they were hard to find for the most part. But yeah, I think, I don't know, in terms of what gives me hope in general, I think are conversations with people. I don't know. I think that I go back to the same theme of like people are what make everything better, but I have had a lot of good conversations with people who disagree with me, and those are the ones that I remember most and that like I kind of walk away from and I feel like something really changed and something made a difference. And I yeah, I just hope that there will be more people willing to have conversations that are tough or with people that they don't agree with. And I think that's how things change for the better.
Wow. Brain fart. Um,
So
why should
prolific what I said, you know?
it touched my soul? Um, I am so sorry. Why? What advice would you give for younger runners? I ask that question all the time. What advice would you give for younger runners just trying to
Yeah.
follow in your footsteps, or people in general? You say, hey,
Yeah.
listen, we have like the person we should look up to. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Two things. Um, have fun. Like I didn't have fun for so many years being a semi-elite athlete, you know, a high school elite athlete. I wish that I could go back and shake younger me, be like, this is supposed to be fun. Like, don't forget that. And I did that a lot with my high school athletes this fall, was like the last thing I'd say before starting a race is like, remember, this is the fun part. This is really exciting. And that was always something that I try to bring back and something that if I talk to a young athlete, I try to remind them of. Two is, you know, invest in relationships, invest in relationships with teammates and coaches and people around you, because that's what you'll remember most.
you have survived the interrogation process of this interview, and now we are on to the
Oh, good.
very quick, but the hard stuff. Yes, that was the
I hope more
equivalent.
food related things.
Oh, you ain't even got to worry about that. You ain't said nothing but a word. This segment is called Down the Home Stretch. I'm going to ask you a few rapid fire questions. I want you to answer them to the best of your ability. If I stop and ask you to clarify or expand on your statement, it's okay. It doesn't count against the time. If you do
Okay.
not answer these questions in an exact time as fast as you can,
Okay.
I don't care. It's all good. It does not matter. It's all love. Love, peace, chicken grease on this show. You are playing to win the gold medal, be on the gold medal stand where so many athletes before you have achieved such success. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
If there was a food that you had to live with and the food that you wanted to live without, what would they be?
Food to live with. Pizza, food to live without, ice cream.
Ooh, okay. I got to stop that real quick because that is something that's gonna ruffle some feathers.
I know.
Why are you anti-cream?
I I didn't love ice cream ever growing up. I don't know what was wrong with me. I think it was just too cold. I have no idea. But I like it more now than I did as a kid. Like I was that weird kid that didn't like ice cream. But even still, like I love a good like baked cake or a pie or chocolate. I don't know, so many other forms of dessert. So I feel like
Oh, for sure. Listen,
I could nix it on ice cream.
a good cookie is will go take you a
Oh,
long
yeah,
way. So I
agreed.
feel that. I feel that. If you had to be a guest on any Food Network show, what show would you be a guest on?
Hmm. I think it would be really fun. Oh gosh, so many of them are really great. Something with Bobby Flay or Guy Fieri. Both of them are great. I don't have my own restaurant for Guy Fieri to, you know, be able to
I
check
just
out, but
I just want to be a guest. Listen, just let me be a guest and let me go around the country and try free food. Like
yeah, that's what
that's
I'd love to do. I want to go try food. I so many of the shows I watch are like Chopped and Beat Bobby Flay. Like I don't want to compete. I don't want to have to like
no,
beat somebody else. I just want to eat the food. I want to be one of the judges.
be one of the judges. But here's the
Yep.
thing about Beat Bobby Flay. The final dish, they do not make enough for the original judges, and that is
It
terrible.
sucks. Yep.
Yes, you
Yeah.
really have to up your game. Listen, you have a chance. Like, listen, you really have a chance to be on one of these shows. We got to make a call to Food Network afterwards. All right.
For real.
If there was a culture, and I'm going to make these questions about food as much as less than if there was a culture of food that you wanted to try that you never have, which culture would it be?
I feel like I've tried so much food. Um, I don't know. I haven't had much like Caribbean food. I think that that would be really fun to get to try and get to have more of. And I think also really authentic Chinese food. Like I love American Chinese food, but like
Oh, but
real Chinese food.
real.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
There is a huge difference between the real and the stuff that you get at the mall.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
Panda,
not Panda Express.
Panda, Panda saved me, but once I had some real Chinese food, I was like, ooh, there is a difference
Yeah, not the
between
same.
the two. If you do Caribbean food,
What?
oxtails,
Okay, interesting.
oxtails. They are
Good to know.
underrated. They are not served as frequently, but you would enjoy oxtail. Goat is lit
Huh.
too, but
Yeah.
oxtails, you
Okay.
can do so much with it. Okay,
Yum.
what is your favorite holiday tradition?
I have two. I loved growing up doing Thanksgiving with my whole giant Indian family because they all kind of just co-opted this very American holiday that none of them grew up with. And we had this always fun combination of like trying to do traditional American Thanksgiving with a turkey and cranberry sauce and whatever, but then also random Indian dishes thrown in, which also I just always felt like was funny. And then it always turns into kind of a alcohol filled poker game at the end of the night. So that's pretty fun. But my other favorite is Diwali, and I haven't gotten to celebrate it. It's usually changes dates, but like late October to mid November. And I haven't been like home to celebrate with family or like an Indian community since I was in high school. So I feel like I've now made it my own thing and gotten to show like all of my friends why I love the holiday so much, which is mostly are about the food, but also about like the songs and the dancing and kind of the festival of light itself. So between those two, I think those are my faves.
If there was a board game that you would want to become a reality, what would it be?
A board game in reality. I feel like so many of them are already in reality. My favorite board game to play is Settlers of Catan. I don't know that I want to live in Settlers of Catan reality, but it'd be pretty fun to get to like play it out, in real sort of, I don't know, real life, but in a simulator of sorts.
Everyday brand that you wish would sponsor you.
Everyday brand. Oh, that's not fair. Like there's so many of them. I don't know, some
Two
sort of like
everyday,
coffee
two
or
everyday
chocolate
brands.
company.
Okay.
Probably Starbucks. which
Oh
I feel
boy.
like is kind of lame, but I don't know. I have so much like coffee that would be really awesome. And they're Seattle based. So that'd be fun. And the other one that I would love is any sort of like high-end cheese brand. Gotta say it. Like I've been working on trying to talk to Beechers. They're also a Seattle based cheese company, but
Oh,
any cheese company really would be a lot of fun.
best kind of cheese, best type of cheese.
Best type of cheese? Okay, so I was just eating it right before this interview. Um, it's pretty specific, but it's called Latour, and it's like a combination of like sheep, cow, and goat, I think. And it looks like a little cupcake cheese. That's my favorite. But brie in general, it's kind of like in the brie family.
I don't like brie cheese. It's hard to melt. And it has such a particular taste. But
You got to get good brie cheese though. If you get like crappy brie cheese that's like
so
kind of plasticky with like really
yeah.
thick like wax on it, you got to go like to like a specialty store or like a good like a high-end grocery store and go to like the cheese area and get the good stuff.
Okay, that because it is cheap. Like I cheaped out and paid for money, didn't pay enough money for it, so that explains it. Okay, I can do that.
Cheese
You
cheese is one of those things that like you get what you pay for. And if you like spend $10 on like a triangle of cheese versus like three, it makes a massive difference.
cheese and wine. I feel like those are the two things that you can't cheap out on. Like paying
Yeah, I think you can get decently good cheaper wine though, at least in my opinion, than
in a
cheese. But
in a in a bottle or a box.
bottle. But you
Okay,
can get a bottle of wine that's really good that's like $15.
okay.
So yeah.
Listen, I think like that's ultimate. Okay, couple more questions. Now I'm like, because I just went out and bought some cheese because I make a mean macaroni and cheese, and so I have like all
Ooh,
these
I love
different
mac and
cheeses.
cheese.
So I do the home style. I have my own recipe and everything, and I was gonna add some smoked Buddha to it,
That
but
sounds amazing.
yeah, I couldn't bring. I didn't have the heart to do it. If there was an item on the Thanksgiving meal plate that you just said that needs to go bye bye, what would it be?
Turkey. I just I
So
I've
I'm
never
not
liked it.
mad at that answer. I'm not
I
mad at
feel
that answer.
like it's iconic, you know, it is the Thanksgiving thing, but I just have never loved it. I feel like most of the time it's kind of dry and I just want to cover it in like all of the potatoes and cranberry sauce and gravy and all the other stuff on my plate. It makes it better, but I could just eat those other things without the turkey and it'd be fine.
Turkey. See, we're doing turkey wings this year.
Mm.
Not turkey wings, but turkey drumsticks because it's hard to, and you let it simmer over some gravy and everything. So I feel that turkey for that answer. All right, last two questions. Why should people go out and vote?
Because that is not only your civic duty, because I know that sounds super corny, but like it is your way to express your opinion in like so many decisions that are made in the environment around you. Like you know, anyone that's elected, an elected official, different ordinances, like things that impact your life, are all things you can vote on. And don't you want to feel like you at least, you know, even if you know what you voted for is not the thing that comes to fruition, don't you want to feel like at least you put your opinion out there? And sometimes it really does come down to a few votes, and your vote could does matter. So yeah.
Last question. Why does kindness matter to you?
Man, it just makes everything better. Like even smiling at someone, it can change their day. So I think that it's just it kind of ties into gratitude, like being kind and being gracious just makes me happier, and I think it makes other people happier too. And um I've always been the type of person that enjoys giving gifts more than receiving them because I don't know, it's nice to make someone else happy, and that's essentially what kindness is kind of spreading happiness.
You have
Yeah.
survived the rapid fire challenge down the home stretch rapid fire challenge, and you are a gold medal winner. You killed it. You aced it. All thriller, no filler. That's why we have the legends on the show. That's why we have the greatest on the show. And Rebecca is definitely one of the greatest out there, not just on the track, but off the track as well. And you guys got a chance to hear that today. Where can the people find you? Where can the people support your journey?
On Instagram and Twitter. I think I have the same handles on both, though I should know at this point. It's at Rebecca_Mehra. Try to post on there, write some blogs here and there.
Well, Rebecca just announced she's doing some big things, and so I am so pumped to see the incredible things that she's going to do. I cannot wait to see her ball out. Listen, if she in Budapest in August, don't be surprised. You heard it here first.
That's the goal. That's the
That's
goal.
that's the goal. Listen, anything is possible. As we say down here, ain't no thing but a chicken wing. And guess what? It could very well happen. You never know. Until next time, thank you all for listening. Peace.